Yep, you're good.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the January 23rd zoning board of appeals. I'm going to, I guess, just go through the agenda tonight. Is just that we have approval of December 12th 2024 minutes. Everyone received a copy of those, had a chance to review. Any edits or changes as read? No. We have a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So the item on the agenda tonight is LeBeau area variance. So I'll call you up. I just want to, we're gonna open the public hearing for that. Then I'll have you come up and then we'll go through. So I guess, do I have a motion to open the public hearing for that? Motion to open. For a second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. You want to come on up, grab one of these seats, and then, yeah, I'll waive the reading of the actual public notice. It was issued in the Sentinel on December 13th of 2024. So, guess we can just give us an overview of what you're looking to achieve and go forward with.
Sure, yeah, it feels a bit like a soap opera, to be honest. We closed on a property back in August of 2023. The week of closing, we found out that there was an issue with the property with the outbuilding. We attempted to settle that or rectify it prior to close, but with the local housing economy, the rates expiring, my 4-month pregnant wife, our house was already sold. We took it at risk to just close on the property and say, hey, we'll be neighbors and settle this after closing. Sadly, the other neighbors, they issued us a notice through their lawyer to the wrong address in October. So it never came to our house. It went to a Mendon zip code, not a Honeywood Falls zip code, even though I'm zoned in Mendon, right? It's Honeywood Falls zip code. So it never came. They thought we were ignoring them and fighting them. So I think they took offense to it. And then in April, we got served a much harsher letter with a lot of background investigating and things that this Harris Beach law firm had done. Never ever making personal contact with the neighbors, or because it was owned by an LLC. So I didn't even know who actually owned it. So after that was given to us, we started this process of getting to the root of like, what options do we have available? How can we rectify this? And that's when we found out that the previous owner had essentially lied, misled, I guess, the town on where they were going to place the outbuilding on the permit request. And then due to the interesting state of affairs during COVID of not, wanting to interact with other people, I'm sure the COO was given, and this person essentially established the outbuilding, CFC, sorry, compliance occupancy, but it was issued, and ultimately, I finally got to the root cause and got hold of the actual builder that put it together, looking at the original documents. And this gentleman who previously owned a home segregated all the contractors and had a pad put down, and then had a contractor show up who assumed that the pad had been blessed by the town, and he put the building up. And the guy felt terrible about it, but he closed his company. And I want to settle this with an actual certified contractor that's licensed and insured and bonded and so on and so forth. So we met with Corey, came up with a plan. He asked the I'm gonna forget the name of the family, Harmony Homes,
Owens?
Christine and Griff Owen. They had it surveyed, they put stakes up, and then I had this Finger Lakes Construction come out and did a full drawing. The permit application is with Corey right now. So what we're seeking is I still have the use for this barn. It's not critical that it be on my property, but with 5 acres, I have a mower out there and my dad's extra car that doesn't fit in his garage. And so rather than knock it down, if I can take 2 of the roof gables, is the right word for it? Trusses, thank you. Back, that's 8 feet, and it's actually naturally where there's a split for the posts. So it's a very simple deconstruction, if you will, to take the front off, back it off 8 feet. And when you look at the drawing, it's actually the lean-to, the overhang that's over the property by 5 feet. the actual building itself is 1 foot over the easement, actually. It's not the property, it's the easement to the property being a flag lot. So, by pulling it back 8 feet, that puts us onto my property, but obviously still inside the
Still
20-foot
encroaching on
setback rule. And when you look at the application from 2020, it's way back. But then if you came and visited my home, there's a big hill. So there would have had to been a lot of excavation and bulldozing and potentially even interaction with the septic system. So I'm assuming, putting myself in those shoes 4 or 5 years ago, they said, scooch it, no one will ever notice, and sadly, here we are. So, it stinks. I just want to be a good neighbor, and my like, I got 3 little boys and I want to go through the school district here, and I just want it to be rectified, right? So that's why we're here trying to do it above board and have an actual, again, contractor come in and fix it. So yeah, that would be it. And I'm essentially, they're under contract right now. They've been paid for the drawings, and then they would start work in February, March timeframe if this is approved. So, yeah, yeah.
Removal of the extraneous roofing and everything else, that's not gonna affect any load-bearing walls or anything else, right?
No, there is load-bearing posts, so it's a 40-foot barn. And luckily 32 feet, if you're doing multiples of 8, ends, it's the perfect situation of a bad situation.
So lopping off the end of it is not gonna.
Absolutely, yeah. So when they came in, it's actually neat that the rim joists up top or that are holding the trusses, they actually end at that post. And then there's an 8-foot section on. So if we had to pick one side to do it, the north end was,
No, what about the pad itself, the concrete?
that would be, I
You're
mean,
gonna lop that off too?
yeah, that's what, I don't know what the guidance would be on that. We were planning to put the wall up and then wait till the spring and jackhammer it away or whatever needs to happen there, or cover it in topsoil or whatever.
Just take a diamond saw and
And
fly off, yeah. Because otherwise that would still be encroaching by that
on the
full,
easement.
yeah.
Yeah, because I see in your contract from Finger Lakes, not included was removal of concrete. So you can
Okay.
take care of that.
Absolutely.
The 2 stakes that are out there, those were put in by surveyor.
And that was oversaw, I guess Corey went with Griff and did that. And they're on either side, so the plan is to tie a rope together. When it works
Building
done,
by 8 feet.
and make sure it's not encroaching or no concrete's underneath it.
And they're well aware of the full plan, do you, the support from them as well?
I have been, based on how Harris Beach has essentially threatened to sue us if we interact with them.
Okay,
I've never even met them. I'd love to, I'm just afraid to, because I don't want this to
understood.
turn into something and blow. And again, I have no ill will against them. I don't, it's not how I was brought up. So again, if it's just business, I get it, but perhaps one day we can laugh about it over a coffee or something, but right now I've just been advised to limit contact.
Okay. I guess, was there anyone on? Oh,
So just so we're clear, using this, we're talking about the removal of this portion of the building. The removal and relocation of that portion of the building from the flag lot.
Yeah, it's very evident. You can see.
Yeah,
the
it
flip right
encroaches,
there.
right?
Mhm.
Okay, just want to make sure. I understand.
Mhm. So,
Basically shorten the building up by 8 feet.
yeah, and that brings the structure itself will be close to set 6 or 7 feet on my property line. It's that the lean-to, there's an overhang that's
Right.
really over it. I could have probably done that myself, but the second we found that front beam or that support beam was over the property line, that's one of the most, thank you. That's when we said this has to be handled by a professional.
Any thought of taking that 8 foot and putting it on the rear?
That would be really difficult, especially
I think-
redoing the slab and everything else.
And digging it out, we had horrible, I mean, it floods every time it rains, you didn't know irrigation, so that's something. Yeah, again, there's not even electricity out to the building, yeah. I don't have a use for it, my father has more use for it than I do, that's why he wants it to stay up. to be honest. Yeah, exactly, everyone's excited when someone's.
It'll be 30 by 32 instead of 30 by 40.
There's no electrical or anything else on that
It-
side.
It tricked me when I moved in, all the plugs are in there. He used to run a generator out there, and so he has a feed to plug in a generator. I've never used it for that. There's no utilities at all to that building.
All right, any other questions? Well, you're welcome to hang out if you like, we'll probably chat about this one for a little bit and then decide next steps. Okay, cool, thank you. Thank you for coming through.
Nice to meet you all.
All right, do you have any other comment on? We want to talk about this one further? Do we want
Well,
to?
yes, I close the public.
Yep. All right, do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
Make motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Do we want to talk about this one further? Do we want to take action tonight? Do we want to?
Just for the record, I would like to state that, because it was an error on the town of Mendon as well as the builder and previous property owners. I would agree with actually the variance and mopping up the building to as final corrective action.
And how do we want to make sure that there's mention of this overview?
From Corey,
Yeah,
you don't actually have to. do
Okay.
that specific reference, it's part of the record.
it was more of the context back
Yeah,
from,
yeah.
so, okay,
And it is actually removing it off the property line encroachment and moving it as far away as possible into the easement without massive destruction of the building with the support beams and everything.
anyone else? Do we want to take action or make a motion on that?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Yes, David, do you have any other edits to the,
Not from what I sent to you.
gotcha, so that's what I
Yeah.
just wanted to confirm, okay. So I will read this and then we can go through the process of discussing the 5 questions. Potential any conditions we want to discuss, right, so. I've already used seconded by Ted Travis that the area variance requested by James LeBeau for his property located 4135 Clover Street, Huntington Falls, New York 14472. Tax ID number 203.04-1-23, zone R8F5. For an area variance to remedy a property line encroachment by shortening the length of a pre-existing accessory structure that extends beyond the property line to be within the 20-foot site setback, B, and the motion is granted based on the following. And that's whereas the above property owner appeared before the zoning board of appeals at a public hearing on the application of January 23rd, 2025. And whereas the town of Mendon zoning code section 260-106 provides that a side yard setback in the RA5 zoning district shall be at least 20 feet. And whereas the previous owner constructed an accessory structure within that 20-foot side setback that also encroaches several feet onto the adjacent property. Whereas Mr. LeBeau seeks to remove 8 feet from the north side of the accessory structure to remedy the encroachment, which will result in a 3-foot side setback. Whereas this application was sent to the zoning board of appeals attorney and the town code enforcement for review. And whereas this application was sent to the Monroe County Planning Board for review pursuant to general municipal law 239-M, and the application was returned as a local matter with comments. Whereas the zoning board of appeals held a public hearing and the public was given the opportunity to comment on this application. Now therefore be it resolved that the application constitutes a type 2 action under SECRA and no further environmental review is required. And be it further resolved that the zoning board of appeals has weighed the effects of the requested variance against the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood and the community. And hereby the motion is to grant the application based on the following findings. So we will go through the 5 questions. The requested benefit can or cannot be achieved by other feasible means.
Could be, completely demolished.
So David, I've just written down like could be removed, the entire structure could be removed
Could remove or relocate.
or relocated. Okay. The request is or is not substantial. I would say it is since it's 17 out of the 20 feet.
85% of the 20 foot.
The request will or will not have an undesirable change in the neighborhood. I would say it will not.
I think it will, but like, it's beneficial, you know, like, how do you say that?
I was in the mindset that it was will not because it already exists.
Right,
It's far back from the road,
right.
that
You never
distance.
see that side. of the
And
street,
and you
yeah.
won't see that distance change, the 8 feet.
But his neighbor will appreciate it more.
It's wild land. It's like.
It's
further
just-
wild.
it's like a gated
I've never
accessible
seen
gate.
it.
Yeah, the other thing is that the criteria is whether it will have an undesirable change.
Right. No, well, yeah,
Yeah.
I was,
The request will or will not have an adverse effect on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. Will not. Because the structure exists
he said drainage is already an issue.
and existing.
Welcome to
Conditions.
the town of Clay.
And unless you live where I live, it's just all gravel.
The difficulty is or is not self-created.
I don't think it is. This is
So
finally
what
people like,
Owned by the property owner.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
yeah.
created because.
He wants to fix
purchased the
it.
Property.
yeah. But like the town would have done better.
What's your consensus here?
The town could have done better, or it's
Uh,
self-created because he wants to fix it.
Well, it's
It was
self-created
self-created by the
because he
previous
bought the
owner.
property. He-
Okay.
You know, even knowing that there was an issue, they still bought the property.
So that was in the official survey. When they surveyed it, the guy like immediately flagged it, was like, dude.
Yeah, it was 2 days before final closing to own the property is when we were notified.
Okay.
We attempted to sign something,
Yeah,
but the law offices wouldn't, there's no way in 2 days
you're gonna get that moved.
they were gonna do anything, right? We didn't hear back from them until October,
That's what yeah.
But
And then all of
we
a
didn't
sudden,
actually get
April,
that.
like 6 months
Right,
later,
right.
yeah.
so. yeah.
So I guess just taking a poll, I've heard is.
It is self-created.
Okay. And it
Would you
basically because of the desire to continue with the purchase of the property and.
Would you like me to reference that the CFC was issued an error, inadvertently issued an
I
error?
think that makes sense.
So it acknowledge the fact that there's some component to this that's not.
Self,
So
Yeah, there's some
correct.
liability on the town. of
Okay.
Linden.
And then I guess the last one we have there is be it further resolved that the approval is conditioned upon the following. The only one that I had is that the concrete was removed to finalize that encroachment.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Concrete removal,
As a
since it was
condition?
not, because it was not on the intent of the hire contractor. And following the discussion on this resolution, the following roll call vote was taken and recorded. So I guess all in favor of that resolution as we just read that? Aye. Any opposed? All right, so that's approved. So I think yeah, you'll work with them to do that, and then good luck with the resolution of that. Yeah. Right. The next item is, it looks like we do have a meeting February 13th.
Yep.
Right. And that is the last item. We have a motion to adjourn.
Um. With this one. Can we have a short discussion about this?
Next time's the Turner application. Yeah, you can discuss it. I would remain in, unless you have a question for me, I would remain in an open session.
Only that that states 100 watt maximum. We would actually need them to define whether it's 100 watt LED, because that would be super bright. Or is it fluorescent or incandescent? More than likely it's LED. So more than likely, like 18 watt would be like the maximum.
Yeah, that's stuff that you can discuss with the applicant. And also, I know Corey had,
20 Deep's got lights on theirs now, right? I don't know if we initially approved that, whatever that was 4
Yeah, I don't
years
know.
ago.
and I had asked Corey to clarify a few questions. I know that you received it.
Yes.
Chris, did,
I
can't remember if it was-
response back. Yeah,
I don't know if he sent it to everybody else or it was on, I can't remember if that was,
I didn't get anything. Yeah, no.
okay,
Nice.
I will, I'll circulate to everybody, Corey's comments. Oh, yeah, he only sent it to me. Oh, so I thought it's
all
included.
good.
I'll forward it to everybody so you can all see it before next meeting. I had raised a few questions about the signage because of the fact that the code doesn't allow for freestanding signs, so that's one of the reasons why it's before us, but I wanted to understand the scope of what we were being asked to consider, because we're also being presumably asked to opine on the size and maybe not the design, but size, lighting, as you mentioned, other and the location, things like that. So because it's not permitted in the code, we don't have regulations for it. So I wanted to get his feedback on it. So I'll share that with you.
I think he had, he did the, what's that farmer's market there on Clover, like right by the, this traffic circle thing. Right, because that sign ended up having to get approval to be where it was located, besides being freestanding huge.
Yeah, because he wants this 15 feet from the road. The
Right,
ordinance says 15 feet from edge of right of way.
right.
Big difference there. It's a
That was-
66-foot right of way.
That was the 20 deep thing.
So he's gonna be looking at 48 feet from the center line of the road.
Right.
And I know he's gonna say, Jesus, back in the middle of my yard. No. He can come back and ask for another variance.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.